Let's get the show on the road. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope you're all doing well. I see we've got some very familiar names out there. How's Badzilla, G-Man 131, NC Raiders, Milos 2010. Hope you're all doing well. Alright, let me get this thing set up here. And we'll get you caught up to what has been going on over the weekend. Let me see, I gotta click on this over here and go back to the game. We're gonna take another ride around. Basically, just to tell you, we're at the point right now. I am trying to get this up for our server play, so J Dunn 1019. Just let me know what you need, and we'll see what we can do. I do not know if I can help you tonight or not, or you can send me a message. We shall see. Anyway, I'm going to show you guys where we are. The map pretty much the way it stands right now, the terrain on the outside is, I would say, first stage done. Always subject to change as we start bringing in factories and all that stuff. But it's all the mountains and everything, and there's lots of large grassy areas left for those buildings as we bring them in as well. That is all out there, all the new terrain changes, as well as hopefully most of the grass. There are a couple areas I'm sure I have missed. I haven't, and when I get into the closer up views of different places, we'll see what grass needs to be added in and what places, if I've missed any. That often comes too, not until it gets on the server. And I've started doing round one of trees all the way around the map. And Andy GT Extreme, thank you so much for the tunnels. Andy worked on our tunnels. If you've been following along, they're in the map right now. You can see the tunnels are done and look awesome. And thank you. You made it so easy to bring in the new tunnels as well. Just literally dropped them in place, and you could see he built the edges around both sides and everything. Absolutely awesome. I mean, really makes a difference. This tunnel didn't even have that edge around it, and the green grass to block, just to make it easy to import. They look totally awesome. Can't thank you enough for that. But we'll take a ride around and take a look at the map today. And keep in mind, the first level of trees for most of the map, they're all going to be the same ones. I just started planning, and there's a lot of area that still needs to be done. But I've just started planning the stage 3 spruce trees. There's I'll go through 5 or 6 different stages in the map, and you will see a lot more. We'll be doing some of that later because that's the step I got to get done. But all these mountains that are on the side of the road here still need trees added to them. But it's coming along pretty well. I'm going to take this road across and see what... I don't even know where I started and left off. I've just been putting trees everywhere. Absolutely. Whoa, it makes it that much better. Now I'm going to have to get another vehicle. I looked away and I wiped it. Oh, it's coming back. Yeah, awesome. So there is a lot of empty fields, but there's going to be trees wherever there's grass right now. And I got to get the trees all planted, and then I'm going to start working on the swamp as well, finish doing the swamp work that needs to be done. And then we'll get the fields marked, and I'm going to bring in a few of the extra silos and stuff like that that I want to have in the map, a few extra features. And then we'll get it up on the server, hopefully in about a week. I think it's going to be about a week away before I can get it on our server for initial testing. And while they're testing all the fields and making sure everything's going well and no major bumps and stuff, I will be continuing to add the kind of cool stuff into the map that we can get in. So there's still tons and tons of area that need trees planted on it. It seems like I hit a lot more of the map than I did. Apparently. Apparently not as many as I thought. Unless I'm on a... I didn't save. We'll find out. There's definitely some trees on the map now. And it's probably more toward the other side. But you can kind of get a look at what the map is going to look like overall. Very big, lots of big fields. And lots and lots of areas where trees shall be planted. Where the heck are my trees? Did I not start up in the right folder or something? I think I have some in here somewhere. I might have started a previously saved game by accident. That's always a possibility. The tunnels are in here. Maybe I'm over the tree limit, if there is such a thing. There's the entrance to the other tunnel that he blocked off so nicely. Yeah, something's different here. I don't know. Let's see. I thought I painted up that a little bit better. But I think I'll have to check. I could just completely have saved the map in a different place or not saved it at all since I've added all that new stuff in. Let's see. What do we miss down there? There are some more hills back there that have been added. Just to break up the landscape a little bit back here. You can see that that's a whole new mountain range like built in right here that cuts across and divides the two roads. This doesn't even have grass planted. I think I have either a lot more work to do than I thought or I have an old save game. Let's find out. Let me just check before we get going too far because it's here. Here's my map. You can see, whoops, maybe you can't. I've been planting tons of spruce trees and now I'm lost. There we go. Alright, we definitely have a lot over here. You could see a lot more than what we previously had shown you. And this side is pretty empty. I gotta go all the way through here. And there is a big section of grass that I missed. Wow, right up by this farm. So that's normal. I gotta hit some grass over here. That was the mountain range we were just at, so I didn't get there. So I guess my trees, even though I thought I was really doing good, have a long way to go. Let me check off this side. Alright, so we turned that way, but I started going in this direction. So we're gonna come up to them. We'll have to head around that side and show you what that looks like. Let me close that real quick, and I thought I shut those silly alerts off. They drive me nuts. Let's see. Save game 2. Alright, back into the map. We'll take another look and we'll head in the other direction this time because that's where everything's done. Well, close to done anyway. So yeah, we gotta finish up that, then we're gonna start bringing in some of the mods and objects that have been made. I really haven't even gotten to look much around. I know that the sawmills are out there and we're going to start working on different areas of the map to add stuff in like those and see what's available. The fabric script is available. We'll probably make a few starter factories out of those or do something to make the few products that we have in the map useful, as well as some more railroad stations around the outside for selling off goods with the train, that type of thing. But it's coming together, slowly but surely. Hope everybody's getting all their Christmas shopping done. Take advantage of those sales on Monday. I didn't. But hey, Cyber Monday passed me by. Alright, so there should be trees up this way. Should there not? Somewhere? Where did I start? It looks pretty empty. Right up here. So all this is going to fill in though as I work my way around, and like I said, on the left we have several different sizes and stuff added in. So right now there's just a spattering of the one size tree all over the place. Keep in mind the fabric script is still limited, doesn't support liquid or silo fill yet. Couple more weeks for that. UPK does though. UPK, I haven't even, I got to take another look at that. Prior to this, it didn't support mods actually built into the map. It may by now, but once I get through this, then we'll look into that as well and see what we can use. So you can see there's definitely going to be quite a few trees on the map as we fill in where all these trees are planted. Around the farms. And I did do quite a bit of terrain editing back here as well. In this back corner. You can see some mountains. I don't know what was here the other day. I think them mountains over there were with trees that go around. I'm leaving this city area intentionally blank until we get there. And I did fix the reflection issues in the museum on all the things that we had the other day too. But you can see there's going to be a ton of area where if you want to cut trees, go for it. There are a couple foresty areas, but lots of just treed areas as well all around the map. But a lot of it's going to be coming out when I start adding buildings in wherever they're needed as well. Depending on where it goes from here, it will have there's definitely plenty of room to keep expanding for quite some time. Over here we added in a lot of the new terrain coming out to the side here. These, and I added in a tree that's floating. I'll have to remember that one's over there. That happens. We will find those floaters, but all this mountains around the little city area here are new, as well as some new roads that wind down through in some places on both the left and right, just some dirt paths that we'll be able to build along in the future, such as this one that comes down through here and wraps around and goes all over the place. Who knows where it ends up? I don't know. It just looked like a good place to draw it in. It comes, I wanted to have access points to different things, and this road actually brings you right back into the center of the map if you followed it all the way. So we'll build up a lot of trees around that one. Definitely going to be in the start of this map a ton of grass to mow if the BGA is your thing, and there's tons of BGAs, one on each of the farms as well. So all these mountains over here that you see, that range that comes across, breaking up the landscape a little bit, is all new as well, and the ones on the left and right. And there's one of them, I can't remember which one now that I'm in the map. I think it's down this road. Let's try this road. There's roads that go up through the hills, that go down into the valley. I mean, there's just some dirt roads that are winding through the landscape all over the place, so further design will make it pretty interesting. And I believe if we go down this way, yeah, there's another mountain right up here that actually has a road that climbs up into it with some more forest area as well. So you can ride up here and do some, once we get all the new trees in here, it'll be quite dense in this area. You'll be able to climb up the hill if you don't wipe out, like I keep doing. With some pretty good views up here too of down the other side. You can actually look down over the fields down below, or drive off the edge right now, but yeah, you could, but I'm not going to. Tons and tons of space left. But I want you guys to have space too. You might want to plow fields, might want to keep grass, so whatever's left after we start bringing in buildings, we'll just leave there. So this whole mountain area is new as well. But there's still plenty of map, as you guys can see, for tons of stuff out there. It's funny because when I start, this is usually the way it always starts. It's not until we figure out what's coming in, and then slowly we'll have things start popping up all around the map, and then making the appropriate places. So you got that gravel area that's going to be right down there with the train running through it, which is going to be backfilled with quite a bit of gravel, I believe, right down in here. Not, the texture won't look as plain when I get in here and start working. It's just kind of a placeholder. We're going to mix in a little bit of dirt, make it look a little better. Take out the divots. The divots would be nice to take out. Some of them anyway. Whoa, come on. You could do it. It's a good thing they got good balance on these vehicles these days. And the railroad runs underneath. So yeah, this corner here, definitely a lot of these mountain ranges are new that weren't here last time for sure. Especially the ones down this side as well. Now that is the side of the map right there, but the range over here with this mountain area that cuts in is also new. Hey, Scott, St. Louis, how are you today? Great to hear from you. Yeah, I'm kind of digging it. I really like this one. It's got a lot of character to it. I need to fix some textures on the fields, the distance textures, which will come in time. But it still keeps transforming. It's getting there. We've got tons of fields already. I think we're about 78. And we're going to get into just, I don't know how long I'll broadcast tonight because you're going to see me just keep plopping trees down for probably the next day and a half. That's what I have to do. Not the most exciting stuff to watch, but it has to be done, you know? Little by little. There's a little bit of change over here too. So we're going to fill all these in, and I'm going to just go around duplicating and duplicating and more duplicating trees till we have, and there's grass over here that needs to be painted. See, I knew there were areas I missed, but we'll get to them. And we're back over to this area, which is again one of the areas I think I brought in some more mountain ranges just to break up the landscape and make it interesting. With little spots here and there to build off of for sure. So I think we'll jump in and get started planting some trees. If anybody has any questions at any time, just let me know. Thank you, Smarty186, for the follow. And so much to do, so much to do. this is what I've been doing. Here you see we have 1,000,001 trees. I hate this part where I think I'm out of the game all the time, every single time. And I have to just keep on planting them everywhere. One layer through of just all these spruces, and I'm just going crazy with duplicating and finding the blank areas. Like so. If you've missed before, basically, if you duplicate a tree that's on the map. Thank you, FarmSim171, for the $50 donation. You don't know how awesome you are. That is great. I really, really appreciate it. It comes in handy this time of year, I'll tell you, with you guys. Oh, yeah. You guys have made such a difference, you don't even know. In my life, not just here, but I can't even tell you. The fact that I have actually can get my kids Christmas presents is just really awesome. So every time that happens, I kind of lose my track of exactly. It's just so amazing of what I was saying. Yeah, we're gonna just keep on planting lots and lots of trees, find some grass areas that I missed, and get this all filled in with stage 3 trees, and then we're gonna go back in and add some stage 4 trees eventually, and just keep filling it in until you have some pretty dense, but we'll have to keep checking to make sure frame rates aren't getting killed or we don't have issues with lag or crashing from having 6 million trees on the map. And then if we do, whoops, what did I do? I don't know. If we do have those issues, I'll have to go back and fix them. But so far, not a problem. And we are putting hundreds upon hundreds on this map for sure. Now, if you could remember, I don't even remember where that floating tree was. Maybe we'll find it as we go around here. But we're going to fill in these blank areas, which are huge. And I just randomly plop them in, you know. That's the way. So I was saying, oh yeah, I was saying that, yeah, right now, once you hold click to, after you duplicate it, you just hit the control, left control, the B key, and then the left mouse button, and you'll get one duplicated right where your cursor is, like I have now. If you keep the mouse button held down, you can just keep hitting your control key and getting a new one every time you move it, and it makes for a lot of quick planning of trees around the map. It will work with any object too if you have multiples of objects that you want to bring in, but definitely a huge time saver for doing trees. And I'll tell you, I did not know this back in when I was doing the first 2015. I didn't learn it till I started the rivers map. So if you guys are starting your first maps or whatever, you're way ahead of me. Some of the things I have learned since have taken me forever to figure out, and what a time saver they are. And planting trees was one of them. It didn't come in the manual. There wasn't a manual, but actually learned it when the Modding for Dummies book came out, which is a good source to look over to see if you can learn anything from, if you didn't ever get it. But I always buy those things hoping that a little more advanced information, I might be able to learn something. At this point, it very rarely happens. So just keep on learning and figuring out what we're doing. A lot of it, you're just marking fields. In the beginning when I started this was such a pain in the butt. Now they've made it so super easy that should only take, well, we've got about 50 or so to mark, but it should only take a day, I would think, maybe 4 or 5 hours to get them all marked up and get the sizes put in. I did something. What did I do? I think who knows. Sometimes I just hit the wrong button. Alright, we're good there. If you notice when I'm doing this, I never really duplicate the last. You'll see this one move. I just do the Control B and then start clicking again, and it's just so much faster. My last one, when I have to shift the screen, always gets moved a little bit. If you have extra monitors, and you're not streaming, this would go a little bit better as well, because I'd be able to see more of the screen as I'm placing these trees down than I do, because I keep everything on the main screen for you guys. That's one of those ones that was a little bit I might be getting a little bit carried away with these trees. Who knows? But I want it to be really, really wooded and awesome looking. You know how we go through wood chips on these maps like crazy. So you'll be able to chop them. I'm planting them so you can chop them down. Glad to hear you're doing good there, Same Lewis. We'll have to get in touch soon. For you those guys who don't know who Same Lewis is, he is part of our team, always will be part of our team. We have some that come and go, but they've been with us forever. Sometimes real life takes over, and he's one of those ones that's always welcome back to join us. Puts in a lot of hours when he's here, though. He has in the past. He's one of those guys that needs to get to know Gravy Latouche, because when we were doing the 2013 map, we couldn't pull Scotty out of the BGA. It was his home. Lots and lots of grass. Now I'm just going to make him cut down all these trees before he gets to it. So yeah, if you want these big grass fields, you're going to have to work for them this time. But rest assured, you will have your grass. The good days of mowing. You know it. That was a lot of mowing back then. Well, it looks like this is the beginning. In the beginning, there was a map. And on that map, there was grass. Tons and tons of grass. It seems like every year, the first live version of the map, because we want to get these guys on it and start playing and testing stuff as thoroughly as possible. But they always start out with lots and lots of grass, and slowly as we add in things, it starts disappearing. As we need a place for a new building or a new road to come in, the grass starts disappearing and the map starts filling in with other stuff. But hey, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of grass until then. I'm still trying to see. There might be, again, it's very iffy right now, but there is, I tell you guys that I'm really thinking about a complete version of the map for March. Depending on what comes out, how the UPK works and stuff like that, once we get past this stage, there might be a if there's a point where we're caught up with what's available to use in the map, you might get an early release on it. I'm not promising anything. There's railroad splines that have to go in, road splines that have to go in, and stuff before that happens, and a lot of time for a lot of other stuff to come out. If we get caught up, however, then we will have a release. That's basically how it always works. If it's tested, we're out of new stuff, or there's going to be a long time before we can get our factories developed or whatever, then there might be, but I'm not going to stick to that because sometimes it just keeps coming faster than I can get it added in. Yeah, asked Black Sheep about the windrows. You need to have Marhu's combine straw fixed to get them to work. Well, we'll take a look at that. I'll have to download it at some point, and we'll see if we can get them to work. Yeah, there's lots of little things in this map that still need the fine tweaking to getting those distance textures to look right on all the crops, but day by day, 12-hour shifts, I'll get it done eventually. It's been kind of a long weekend. I didn't get a ton of time this weekend. Had some obligations. Oh, I just put one up in the air again. Obligations to attend to, but just so you guys know, I don't know if I mentioned it yet. Wednesday should be fine. I should be here on Wednesday. Hopefully we'll have the trees all planted by then. Can't guarantee it because I thought I had all the grass planted. But I will be here Wednesday. Friday is up in the air right now. The only thing I could say about Friday is if I do have the show on Friday, it will be starting an hour later. That depends on how... there's a Christmas party I am attending on Friday. And I should be out of there by the time to get here for 10 o'clock, but you never know with those things. So if you don't see me Friday, I'm not making any plans to be here Friday, but if I get out and I'm not hungover or anything, I might just jump in here on Friday and do a 2-hour show at 10 o'clock p.m. If not, it'll be the next Monday. Now, I'm sure I won't be hungover. I kind of had to give up drinking a while ago to save myself from lots of things. I'll have a drink or two every now and then, but that is about it. It's a map making party. Doing good, S7. How are you today? Yeah, one of the things I did a long time ago was realize that, you know, all that alcohol consumption really wasn't helping me get through the trouble that I was in. Yeah, he'll drink for me. Oh, I'm hoping to actually make plans in the spring to meet Big Daddy. He lives only a couple hours away, different state, but he's not that far away to where we just got to get it together, you know. And we're gonna meet up someday, and I will have a couple drinks with him for sure. He'll have probably 10 more than me. But it ought to be fun. It's interesting. I've done that a couple times now. You know, I've been playing this game here and with the same guys for, well, since 2013 came out edition. And they are great friends. Have been here all. I mean, we spend every. I spend more time with them than I do with most people. But you never get to meet them. Well, I got a couple chances in my life to meet people I've met on the internet and known for a long time, and both very positive experiences. So looking forward to hopefully someday meeting some of these guys. Although it isn't always easy. But it's a lot easier if you're only a couple hours away, that's for sure. And in the same country. So you could see I don't even know how many spruce stage 3s I've planted in this map yet, but there is going to be a very heavily wooded map when we're done, until the buildings come in and take some out here and there. But for starters, we've got a long way to go. I am going to be doing this complete trip around the map, filling in all these areas with the trees with several different sizes. Hopefully I can get through while we're here tonight these pines and then move on to another tree type. But you never know. It's a lot. And hopefully I'll find some of those areas that I need to replant all the grass as well, so we can make sure they're done. The Fizzman is here. How you doing, the Fizzman? So yeah, I'm going to bore you to death. Although not quite probably. I don't think anything will be quite as boring as leveling that first road, that slow and painful one I did when we first started the map. Maybe did we do train spline? I don't know if I did a train spline live. Probably a little bit of it, but that would be painfully boring as well. Just working my way around. We'll grab some bushes and stuff eventually and put them in some areas. But there's plenty of tree sizes and types that will be blended into this stuff. Now, I always start too in the distance, so as you're coming forward, you're not stacking trees on top of each other. The more ground you can see, this is the easiest level to do. Then you don't, when you have to start squeezing the next set of trees in between these, it can get to be a lot more of them that get placed on top of each other. What number is that in the group? That'll give you an idea. This run of trees that I'm doing right now is in a brand new complete folder, transform group, and we're up to 767 with just this one grouping of trees. I think maybe not. It says the index path. I guess that's the one that was highlighted. What is this one? The last one would tell me. Alright, now we're up to 993 of these things. 993 of this type tree alone. So we're probably looking at And that's outside of all the ones that are in the middle here. All these ones up here were already done. So we're probably going to be looking at just this one size, 1500 maybe. And then, whoops, let's hit the right button. I don't know where my tree went. I think I unselected it. And then to do passes with all the other size trees too, we're going to have 10,000 maybe. Who knows how many are going to be on this map. You're not going to have a shortage of them for a little while. Although I've seen some of you guys, the way you take them down in a day. So yeah, you might have them all out of here before you know it. Did somebody get that Brooks running? They might need it. I don't know if anybody's got it running yet. I'm going to be so happy when this is up on the server and we can start playing. I haven't played. I've been so anxious to get this up. I used to spend, you know, a couple hours a day doing a few fields or whatnot in the default Gold Crest map, and then it just got to the point where I'm just excited to get this started and do some farming on our own map here. And I stopped playing so I could get caught up, and I haven't played the game in a couple weeks now. But I'll be jumping in to help out. Oh yeah, I got to set up a default vehicle file too. Maybe we could work a little bit on that. That's not quite as boring, I don't think, as the planting of trees, but we definitely need some default vehicles set up on the map. Yeah, I know Big Daddy, he's been working on it, but trying anyway, and without success. It seems to be a way with a lot of things. I can tell you I did also fix, I don't know if I said this already, seems like I might have, the textures that were wrong in the museum. There was a shader error that I basically just removed the reflective map from them because that's what was causing it, and they look a lot better. The reflection map was causing a shader compile error to appear. But that looks a lot better, so I do have to get that museum. There's so much to do, so much to do. I'm overwhelmed. But every step we do is one step closer. Certainly not running out of stuff I have to do yet. That is for sure. Look at all that space out there. I probably should have added a few more ranges of mountains in here, but nah. If it's anything like PV17 V2 in the end, we need these spaces because you guys know how many huge factories or even rivers had the most we ended up with on the map, and that's where we'll just start carving them out as they come along. I do want to do them differently, but there is plenty of space for them. Plus, who knows what else is to come. We haven't even got to the advanced idea stage. We've got ideas that we got to try to implement, but some of the crazy stuff that we thought about in the past, we'll take a look at again. We do have that on the Trello board ideas that we passed up last time that were good ideas, just didn't have either the technology or the time to to do them. So we'll take a look at back and see what things actually. There's a raisin harvester that Big Daddy was going to look at transforming for this year, but hasn't quite got there yet. And fill types. Fill types are a huge thing. That is the biggest thing right now. Need to be able to get past 64 fill types, or there's just not enough on the map to deal with. But I don't know. I haven't looked lately to see if anybody else has had that issue. I don't even know if there's any multi-fruit maps out there yet, but the game itself already starts with so many fill types being used this year that we only have like 10 available, and I've used them all up except for one, and I actually have a couple of them turned off because you can't. There's actually more than what I can use, so we're getting a few warnings in the map from going over the 64 limit. Nope, I haven't finished the lake. I'm gonna look for a mod, or like you said, see if I can get a truck that can carry more than a small load in before I get back into that. That'll be coming. Make it a lot easier to just drive around and dump a bunch of sand in there. It's at where it was left off last time. But I've got that and the swamp that's going to be need to filled, and yeah, if I can find a quicker way to get it in there, I probably should, because there's so much stuff to do. I just haven't. If anybody has a modded tipper that will haul extremely large, Grabby should be good at that. I see him driving trains 3,000 miles an hour or something crazy. I just need a tipper with an obscene amount of sand that can still move. Just a tipper that but the thing is, I'll probably have to edit the weight of the sand. I think I could do that, but I just need it. Haven't had the time to do it myself, but I'm talking the more obscene amount of sand or product that I can fill it with, the better, because it will make that whole thing go lots faster. I don't know what the capacity capabilities are, but I know we could drop it in the game and then edit the vehicle XML file to fill it up and then just drive it around and try to fill that lake up. I might even leave some grass field that hasn't been planted with trees, but I don't know yet. You never know. Oh, is it over 11,000 miles? Him and his train. Yeah, I saw it going pretty fast. I don't know what the heck he was doing there, but it was whipping around the map so fast. Unreal. A grasshopper with a million cap. Yep. I could use one with a 10 million or 20. Yeah, I'm guessing there's probably about another. I'd like to get about another 10. A million would be fine. It's better than 59,000 at a time, which is the in-game one that I was using. And I already got 11 million in the lake, but it's such a tiny, tiny portion of the lake. And I wouldn't mind putting it into several lakes that are on the map as well, if it didn't take so darn long, so that the sand lakes that are in the map have the sand in different spots, because that's the way your mining's going to be done these days, is by actually digging the product back out. Yeah, it was a fun science experiment. You couldn't even. I was watching it whip around the map so fast that it was like a second every loop around the whole entire map. He had that thing go, if that. Ah, the trees, the trees. I heard about it, so I watched the video after the show, but it was pretty hilarious. I might have tuned in for part of it. Can't remember. Yeah, those are the fun. I tell you, some of the fun times that we've had are the silliest things that we've done on these maps. And the Bobcat soccer game, the races that we've had around the racetrack, the jumping vehicles. In 2013, we literally spent a whole night just jumping out of the gravel pit, try and fly over the fence to Milton Trucking. It was a blast. The races around the maps that we've had too. We've done some of them live. They were pretty awesome. Last year, we did. That's right. We did the one with the boulders. That was a blast. Yeah, how is he editing the train? He must be editing the in-game one, I would think, because we couldn't get it separated to do the edits. That's a good question. Can I do something else like a Walmart instead of a Home Depot like in PV Rivers? You know, I don't know what I'm going to be doing as far as those come along yet, the sell points like that, but the thing is, I'm not a modeler. So whatever comes in is usually based on the models that I can find or that are already available. If somebody had a nice looking Walmart, then I would put it in for sure. If I need to do too much extra work, to me, the sell points, I just need to have some in there. What names on them? It all depends too on the products. There's always, see, that's the thing. Walmart, there's always a lot of products, building products and stuff that make more sense at a Home Depot, but a Walmart, there might be more things this time around with the lavender coming in for that make more sense in a Walmart. You never know. There's going to be a lot of just regular train stations that will be along the map. That's for sure. All right, let's get onward where we are getting. I think we're only about halfway around this map with these trees. Oops, sometimes I just hit the wrong key. Or something's going on here. What the heck did I do there? I have no idea. Got your message there, Grabby. Thanks so much. We'll give that a whirl. Yeah, thank you so much, Andy, again, too. Those tunnels look awesome. It's the little details like that that I can't do that make. There you go, Andy. New project, Walmart. No, no. They're the little things that I can't do that do make such a huge difference in the overall look of the map that really appreciate it. Can't wait to get you over here, too. Soon we shall get this thing running. I was expecting to have it on the server by now, but I was, again, probably in fantasy land when I had thought I'd have it done just after Thanksgiving, because there is a ton. But we're getting close. One more week, I think we could be able to do it. So maybe this time next week, next Monday-ish, you might see the next one a live broadcast of playing a little bit and doing the testing and playing the map a little bit. Let's hope. Let's hope we get to start testing some of the new stuff and playing it and doing some of the broadcasting, not just watching me build it. If there's anything that you guys need to know, although I'll make sure I cover it. But we might just do a little bit of covering stuff and then jump in and play for a while and test stuff and find out what's going on. How bad I did. Wyandotte, huh? Yeah, very soon. I mean, I definitely have some of those round grain ones that we're going to be adding in, or the round. We've got a lot to do. We'll be starting to look for that stuff in the very near future. Very near future. Some of it will definitely be going in before I even put this on the server. We already have a few pieces of special storage for the pig area and racks for the wool and things like that that Andre has in his map that we're going to be porting over because he did a real nice job on setting up a wood chipping area and stuff, so I'm going to steal some stuff from him, add it in. What he has found already and then expand on it from there. Got to build a huge truck stop. Going to have to make a ton of signs. Ton of signage for the farm name, but that stuff doesn't have to go in. Objects don't have to go in the map right away. The more trees and grass I get done, that once you start a save game, you have to reset files all the time. That's why that's important. I mean, if I don't plant grass in one of those areas that needs it, and all of a sudden we need to plant grass, then it doesn't take effect in our save game unless I restore the fruit density GRLE file to the one that's default, and that means I got to tell the guys to harvest every field. Yeah, not quite gonna put Christmas ornaments on all of these trees. Not tonight. Not ever. It would be interesting. I would love to have like seasonal things though, add-on packs or something like that down the road, but man, that would be a ton of Christmas ornaments. That's for sure. the man 82, thanks so much for the compliment. Wolfie 7009, thank you for the $50 donation. You are awesome as well. I love you guys. If I didn't say, oh my gosh, did I say that? Oh my, you guys are really great. The support you've given me does not go unappreciated. I will tell you that. It is appreciated more than you know. And I'm doing this because I like to, and I don't like to put trees hanging up in the air though. But I actually enjoy the making of the. You guys make it actually more fun. Just sharing this with you guys. When's it? Yeah. His map is password protected. You can move the highway interchanges. You're talking about the Dakota 16 map from last year, the 2015 version? There, Kabumba? Because that there were attempts to password protect maps. There is really no way to password protect a map. It's all smoke and mirrors, my man. Once you figure out how to do it, it's smoke and mirrors. They trick you into thinking it's password protected. I've seen some of those, but they're usually not really password protected. I don't think it's even possible this year to do that as well. It never has been in the past. And I know I've been in the Dakota 16 map and able to edit it myself. So if I'm correct, I know exactly. It took. I think that's the one that actually took Big Daddy and I a while to figure out what he had done. But it was just another one of those things. We had thought about using it at one time, but my theory is that I like to teach you guys. It does help to be able to. I mean, I do the same thing. I go through maps, and if I see something that I really want, I will grab it out of there, give credit, usually, if I can remember where I got it, to the person that made the map. But that's what it's all about, you know? The only thing you don't want to do is grab somebody's map, make two tiny little changes, and say it was your, that's not quite right. But letting you get in there and make your own alterations and stuff, I think is important too, because not everybody plays the game the same. You can't, if I password protect or try to block you from getting in, it's not foolproof, but then you can't go and get to the, if you can't get to the files that those of you want to edit for your own personal play style, then I'm not doing you any favors, and that's not nice. Amaki, doing good. Yeah, you couldn't lock zips with passwords in 15, but people made it look like you could. That was the one that was tricky. It wasn't really. They were locking. I'll tell you what. I'm trying to think of exactly how they did it. They changed the file name extension, and they locked a file that was a dummy file when the real file was actually unlocked, just recognized with its different file extension. I know that people have used .sys files in the past to do that, and it still would read it as a i3D or whatever it was. I can't remember exactly. But then they had a dummy file that was password protected, and they made you think that you couldn't open it, but it really wasn't even being opened, so it was an illusion. Yeah, something like that. Exactly. It's all an illusion. And it's that one first file in the list that's locked isn't actually a file that's needed to run in the map. But now we gave everybody their locking secrets. There are several others that I've seen. Has anybody seen some of the cool ones? The my favorite one is when somebody it's so interesting. Let's see. We got this is where I don't have grass, so we got to add grass layer 8. There we go. Paint some grass in this area. Now, one of the ones that I've seen is people do very commonly is they will take the camera, put it way, way, way underground or something, and then delete the camera so when you come in all you have is the blank gray screen and you don't know how to move around or anything, and it's like you think that you're not actually loaded in, but you create your own camera on those maps and just boom, you're good to go. I've seen that one done several times. Any more grass missed? Oh my gosh, this was that big, huge field right here that I missed. Look at all this area. I've got to put in some end of world tunnels over here. I'm a little bit laggy. But we've got to paint all this grass in. So much space. Whoa. What did I do there? What am I doing? How did I do that? Did you got that must have been what I moved before. Uh that is not right. Translate. I'm trying to think. This is way out of place. I must have clicked on it accidentally. It should it be 0 and 0 and 0? I think so. Yeah. My mountains got moved, covering up half of my map. That must be when I was clicking, going crazy with the trees. One of those things that just happens. But we've got a lake over here in this corner. I thought I was done with most of this stuff, but I missed this whole section here. The way Courseplay developers locked out people trying to get multiplayer to work was funny. I never found out what they did. I never used Courseplay in FS. I've barely played FS15 compared to you guys. Yeah, I definitely though would like to get this done by March at the latest. At the latest, because cattle and crops will be out, and we're going to want to take a look at that and see if it's worthy of our attention. Hopefully it will be. Already got my copy pre-ordered. And Maybe we'll have a couple good farming games for a change. You never know. Did I get it all? Did I get all the grass over here? I've got this mountain range. Looks like I might have got most of it through here anyway. Yeah. Well, let's plant some more trees. We left off... Oh, this is the field. Yeah, lots and lots of space here that needs to be. I wanted to... I'm going to do one of those areas up back here for greenhouses or whatever you guys decide to build, so it's going to be done a little differently off of this farm. We're going to use the rough dirt and plant myself a nice big area of, well, dirt that you guys can restore if you wanted to put greenhouses or something up on this hill. Make your own roads. You know the drill. You've been here. We'll just give it most of this area. Get rid of that grass for now. And then we put a field there with a terrain detail layer. And number 2. And we'll fill it back in. We'll leave the road that goes around. And just cover up all the dirt with this other type of field grass. So it actually is a field. It is but if you decide to remove it, it turns back into a dirt patch where you can build stuff on and actually make your own little road. So once that is done, missed a spot. All right. Now I can plant this whole area in grass again. And just fill it all in. I am looking so forward to putting a few hours in on this thing just to test everything, but I do have a lot of work ahead of me, but I've been really pushing it, trying to get it. There's just been so many things going on lately as well. The holiday stuff's coming in, so you know, whenever I get a chance though, I'm in here doing the work. I think you guys have seen it progress pretty fast. Not too slow. I mean, for the amount that has to be done, it's getting there. It's a 4x. If this was a single size, it would be a heck of a lot easier. Right now, the only issue I think that we might run into is actually the UPK used to register fill types. It may still work okay. We might be able to plop that in and get the fill type registration. I have to check. It was not allowing us to add things into the map the last time I checked without throwing errors, but it could create standalone mods. And even at that point, they had issues. But I have to see where it stands if we fix that problem, and if that works, who knows? We might be able to go a lot faster. But we've got a few new crops in already. We're still stuck with the. Actually, if we could break that fill type problem, it's supposed to support 256, but at number 65 on the list, it crashes. The game won't load up. Back to 64, it works fine. We've definitely determined through trial and error that that is the issue. By using different combinations, it was always the one that was fill type number 65 that would cause the map to crash and not responding, which is really terrible. If we can't get past that, we can't add all those other fruit types in the map, or anything for that matter. There's so much more I want to do. Whoa, wrong texture. Let's get some. We'll put the slope limit on at 45 degrees and mountain rock. Get that mountain rock painted around the edge of this, wherever it shall fill in. So we know where the grass has to go. And there is a lot of grass still left to be put in. And this is one of those areas as well that I want to do one of those extension areas. So we'll paint it with dirt and fill it in. Because it's just a nice area to be able to build stuff. And I'm going to bring it right out to the road, so that wherever you decide to build your path off the road, you will have a nice dirt path in there with this layer. You're afraid to try it again. The bits have to be changed. If your foliage layer, well, did the foliage layers disappear in the editor or in the map? That is the question. Because they will disappear. They get rearranged in the map. If you've already started a game, they're going to go bye-bye. Has to be done early on in the process because you're changing the bits. But if it's in the editor and you're not seeing them appear in this list, then you got something really screwed up. In the editor they all disappeared. Yeah. You messed something up. It's not that difficult, but it does require making sure you don't miss any of the steps. It's changing some numbers, really, and making sure you get them all changed. And it could be, I'll tell you, Kaboomba, more than likely with my issues, if nothing is loading in, then it could be as simple as a misplaced marker. You know, I've done like a quotation mark or anything like that that throws them all off. I've done that one myself way too many times. Alright, let's cover this area up with some field. Down lower. But definitely something that has to be done early on in the development, or well, basically you put everything in the map and then do it, then all the bits change and all your fields that are planted, even your grass layer will be on a different number, and you'd have to replant all that grass again, which is not fun to do in the first place, if you ask me. it's just time consuming. I like the parts of the map. I love drawing the terrain and doing the mountains and stuff like that, but I really like to do the parts that start visually showing you the map change rather than the. I mean, the grass, yeah, it makes a difference, but even when you're in the editor, it really doesn't show up much different than the underlying texture, you know? So it kind of can get tedious after a while. Anything, though, that you got to do for days on end will start to drive you nuts. Not as big of an issue in a smaller map, but 16x map, oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine the hours I'd want to put into that thing if I did one. Maybe we'll just take this one and try to drop it in a 16x when we're done. And keep on going. It can be done. More than likely, you couldn't. Yeah, you've got something in the map file when you edited that you messed up. That's all there is to it. If they're not appearing when you edited the foliage layers and changed the numbers. And it could have been as simple as missing a simple. Did you get errors in the map? Check your error log. It'll tell you that those things didn't load in. The errors are the key. Errors are your friends. They're there to tell you what you need to do. Actually, they're not really your friends if you don't fix them, though. But error log is a must. When you saved after changing the bit 11.6, you have to have a new open PNG for your fruit types. Yeah, you don't have to though. I mean, it helps to have a clean, but if you don't have one, it will bring in the old one just with the different fruit types on it. I mean, I've done that before. Even this year I've done that. It's usually if you're not getting anything to, whoa, I do that occasionally. Turn off, I turned on wireframe by accident. It's one of those selections. But it should load up. Error log, that's all I could say. It'll point to my best bet is he has an invalid token error or something, which means you didn't actually write it. KW, good to see you tonight. How are you doing? Glad you can make it out for the map painting / tree planting ceremony. Grass painting. Still doing some grass. No comment. But I apparently missed like a quarter of the map over here. I thought I had it done. There's so much map. I apparently was wrong. You're in the middle of a blizzard. Where are you in a blizzard? I forgot where you're from. Keep it to yourself, though. Don't bring it. Don't let it come over here. We don't need it. I'm perfectly fine without snow on the ground. I tend to avoid outdoors with snow on the ground for several reasons. This doesn't look that pretty. Let's make it a little prettier over here. Smooth and grass layer, and we're just gonna smooth down the edges and make it round it out a little bit better. It's an awful big circle for me to work with, doing such fine details. 35 inches of snow. North Dakota. Oh yeah. You keep it to yourself over there in North Dakota, please. No, the main reasons are if you have my spinal condition, you would have basically like arthritis of my spine, and it tenses up and you get aches and pains from just being out there in the cold, much less the snow blowing around. But also, a slip and fall in the snow would be not a good thing for me. A very bad, bad thing. Seeing as my spine is fused together, it would break. And that would not be fun. Unfortunately, well, fortunately, he's just fine, but I do know a man that has the same condition as I do, but much worse than I do. So, and he did slip and fall and broke his neck. And my neck I can still move a little bit. Can't move it as much as most people, but I can still turn it enough to see a little bit left and right, you know? Well, his was pretty much fused right up and couldn't turn his head. And he broke his neck, and then he was like, wow, I can see again. And it's like, oh no, you shouldn't be able to. He was an older gentleman that I've met. It's like, no, that's a bad thing. His neck was literally broken, so for the first time he could turn his head and didn't realize it. But not a good thing if that happens. That is for sure. They quickly braced it so he couldn't move it, and fortunately didn't get further damage. It was 54 today up in Colorado. Still hauling corn and soybeans off the farm? Wow. I have no idea what the temperature was outside today. I didn't go out. No thanks. But I know it's getting colder. You can feel it through the walls. Heater kicks on a little bit more often. How much grass did I miss? Apparently like half this corner. Yeah, up here on the top too. Well, I did some of it up there anyway. Little by little. Get out your mowers. You're gonna have some grass to do. Gotta get St. Louis back in here to cut all the grass. And then we've got, oh man, objects galore to place in the map. Just decorative objects, the street lights to go through, and a whole city to build. It's going to be a while. I don't know how. That's another big thing, though. What I haven't checked. Saves are done differently now. You have save IDs to save stuff. I am not sure the effects of adding something in after a game is started. What's going to happen? You know, once we get testing, we'll know more. Once we get this up on the server, and if it doesn't have drastic effects and you can continue a save game, say if I brought in a factory here or did something here or there to add to the map and it didn't need a restart, normally we don't have to restart here because I know what I did and I could go into the save game files and make the necessary changes so it reads just like the updated version. I guess it's really going to depend on which way we go with it too. If we go with the UPK, unless the UPK adds in the feature with save IDs so that everything has its ID number, it might not work with the UPK stuff. But because things have their own save IDs, it doesn't really matter anymore which order they fall into in the save file, and therefore I don't think the future editions would corrupt the whole thing, and we might be able to do a little release and grow and release and grow after we get to a decent point, starting point. You know what I mean? So you guys can start playing a little bit earlier and then just be around for the updates and add them in as time goes on. That would be pretty awesome. It might be doable. We're going to find out a lot about that stuff once we get it live on our server and I start doing updates for those guys. If the save game files need to be reworked every single time, then that won't be possible. But if it just keeps adding on without reworking save files, some of you guys might already know the answer if you've been playing some of the other maps. I know that Andre has been doing edits and adding things in to the map that we have on our server and not running into restart issues, so there is a pretty decent possibility we might be able to pull that off, you know? Get you to a starting point where you can start and then just coming back to see what we have updated and grabbing a new file and playing and expanding as we go. That would be awesome. You wouldn't have the best beta testing in the world because, well, actually we would, but not in-house before you get it. Not in-house before you get it because we wouldn't be able to test it if we did it that way all thoroughly. But I'd have you guys to point out everything that we did wrong. that needed more attention or whatnot. So, just a possibility, because I would like to get you guys play my map as soon as possible. But that soon as possible could be a while. Who knows? There's so much yet to learn. But I know Andre's added in some new storage buildings and silos and different things, and because of that new way the save IDs, previously the vehicle XML had to be read in order. So if you added something in that wasn't there previously and it was out of place, you'd have to literally reconfigure the save game files so that those IDs would fall into place properly in order to not corrupt the save game. So if I was working on something and I had decided to put a new sawmill in and it moved all the indexes between, say, number 85 and 90, then I'd have to literally renumber everyone past that point where the change was made to get the darn thing to work again, which is quite an extra step. But we're usually able to do it. That aside from resetting tree files and foliage, but as we bring in the buildings. But you might not need to do that this year. We'll find out. That would be really awesome. Then you guys could see, I mean, if that was the case, literally we could continue building the map while you're playing it and just come by for the updates to let you know what's going on, what went in, see if you want to do it or wait a couple of them before you do another major one. And then play as we go. But who knows? Those answers are coming soon. I feel like I have been painting the same area forever, but no, it's all different. Lots and lots to do. I just missed a huge field, that's all. Couple huge fields over here. I could probably be using a bigger circle at this point, but you know me. I like to work. No, it's just tougher when you get to the fine details. Like along the edge of the field. I'll have to come back and hit that in a minute. Alright. If you're careful, you can use the big circle around those edges, but I'm not usually that careful. Much easier to do with a square. But the road's crooked, so I guess maybe not. Keep forgetting this road comes out of that tunnel at just enough angle to make everything all screwy. Is Big Daddy out there tonight? I didn't even see if he was there. Is he hiding? I don't know if he's there tonight. I don't see his name up there. Have to pass that hint along when he's actually in the audience. He could be. My list doesn't always. He's watching incognito. He's hiding on us probably. No, he hasn't been feeling well. I hope he's doing okay. That's the word I got anyway. I think it was KW that said he was under the weather or something. I haven't heard from him since I think Thursday. It happens. This is not a job. You don't have to report every day. The minute it becomes a job, then it doesn't isn't quite as fun sometimes. But we all are here because we enjoy it, that's for sure. And we don't do drama. We've learned that a long time ago. Drama doesn't get anything done, just makes people irritable. So we're just here to have fun. And I get the last word. Oh, that's so funny. Now we'll discuss things, and sometimes we'll have some pretty good discussions and of why something should be done or why it shouldn't be done. And the biggest one I can ever remember was everybody was against me for they all wanted ATV World out of the map at that time, way back in 2013. And I had put so much work into it, I didn't really want to do it. But eventually I downsized it a little and we decided to add more farms. And eventually we kind of got it out of there by on the Fences version 2 map. I think it was completely gone. But yeah, it wasn't for everybody, but I liked it. But I was pretty stubborn. I'll admit. I'm going to bring it back this year. Why are bushes not plowable? It makes no sense. Well, that is because bushes are objects in the map and not a terrain. There are terrain layers that can add bushes in. I don't have any in this map currently, but I might, it would make sense to do that with bushes in our fields here. Grab a bush foliage layer so they are plowable. They would be a foliage layer. The ones that are in the map are actually objects, much like the trees, but they're not cuttable either. So they're more like just any other object in the map. And the game doesn't discern that it's actually something different that can be mowed. It'd have to be a foliage layer in the map in order to be cut or mowed over. And they are not. They are. And I think we have some over here. Maybe not. They're around somewhere. They're just right here, for instance. They're just objects. If I click on them, there's a whole mess of bushes. Bushes 15 right here. And not mowable. But we can move them. You can put them anywhere. There's tons of them. You can see that section right through there. But because they're all objects, yeah, you won't be able to mow them. They'd have to be just like this grass that I'm painting in order to make it mowable. And there are some layers out there that are bushes that are grass as well. But if they're not done right, then they won't be mowable either, because there are foliage layers that can't be mowed. So there's many reasons. What you might see is I'd like to get a couple new grasses in here that are actually a new product on the map. I want to get clover and alfalfa in. If we get once we get the extra fill types, and then we can mix some of this grass up to make it look different and have the clover and alfalfa planted rather than all the same type grass, which would be kind of cool. So that looks done. That looks done. I think, if I'm right, I got everything here. Let's do more trees. Hopefully that's it. Probably not, but hopefully it is. What time is it anyway? Almost 10? We can go a little while longer if you guys want to watch the terrible tree planting. Yeah, I'm gonna try to keep away some of the bushes in certain areas here, just so you can do that. We're gonna stick to the trees that can be cut, and possibly rocks that can be moved. We don't know what's going on with that stuff yet. We haven't experimented, but we want you to be able to clean up the areas and make it your own for sure. So we'll be cautious of. There will be some areas where you'll have bushes just for the decor, but we'll try to make it so that most of the areas can be cleaned right up. Let's bring in some over here. Zero 04 Paul, good to see you. How you doing tonight? Don't like the row crop duels on the drivers of the combine, but heck, it's green. Yeah. I can tell you this, you can't make a map that suits everyone. But I know that everybody that's here probably that have played my map, well, not everybody. There might be here people here just learning. But a lot of you like the style. Hey, there are some people that just like really small maps so they can complete them, and you don't get that from me. I build usually the type of maps that I like to play on, which have lots of functions and all the bells and whistles that I can find, so you don't have to, you know, you don't necessarily need to like them all, but it's kind of cool to have them if you for the people that do. I hate it when my maps don't have something that's really good that the other ones have in them. I want them in mine too, because I want to play it. Yeah, you put the dirt terrain on a blank map and let them go at it and build their own. These days, you can do something like that. It's that would be an easy project to do, actually. Give them a little bit of terrain, but just make it all so that everything is that one big field type. The thing is that you don't get fields to actually. You don't get the marked fields and stuff, so that takes away a little bit of it. But yeah, if somebody wanted to build their own map, that would be one way to do it. Nobody's done one of those yet. I do like the placeables and letting you guys have some freedom in how you set up your maps, and it's kind of fun watching your streams too to see what you've done with the different and oh yeah, I wouldn't have thought of putting that there or here, but that makes a lot more sense than where I ended up putting it, or that type of thing. It's kind of cool to see what you come up with. So I think you're going to see a lot more of that flexibility this time around for sure with these new areas that you can plow out and do what you want with. What size map are you working on there, Kaboomba? Just curious. Uh, Train splines are not fun. I agree with that. I have two more to do. I did the first one and am taking a long recess before I work on number two, but the tracks are in for all three, and there will be three on here, and they all meet up together in different points, so yeah, 4x4 map is not that's a job, those rails, I'll tell you. I understand completely. I wouldn't I wouldn't want to do it, but I'm doing it anyway. Got to make sure you guys don't have to cut down too many trees along the field edges. That would be cruel. That field has to have some room around it. Now, it's just one of those things. I like to play these maps too, and I try to keep in mind the things that annoy me, like bumping into those trees. I don't always get it 100% right until we test it and realize. But eventually, we usually get there. The fewer annoyances, the better. Train splines, definitely not my friend. Did you do the traffic splines on that map too? Because they're just about like the train splines, adding in new traffic splines. Those are just the tedious, boring steps that take a long time. So a lot of people just leave them out. There's a lot of maps out there that don't even have trains in them. Thanks there, Cold Tower. I didn't have a clue what I was doing when I started these. I will say that. It was a long time ago in a land far, far away. And I was playing Hagenstedt. I have done a little modding up to certain points, but never did any map editing or anything like that. But I was playing that Hagenstedt map in 2013, and if you guys remember those trees right on the starter field, constantly bumping into those trees. And then I decided I'm going to make my own map and get those trees out of there because they annoyed the heck out of me. So you get in the editor and you try to figure out even just how to move around, and then you get past one thing and okay, now that I've figured it out, it's pretty easy to do, moving those trees out of the way or deleting them. And then you say, the next thing comes along, you know. Wonder if I can maybe level this mountain or whatever that's in my way that I'm bumping up against. So you do a little bit of the smallest terrain editing, and oh, now I know I can edit the terrain, so why don't I clear out this spot over here so I have more, and it just grew and grew, and then I decided this map isn't going to be good enough for me. I got to get a bigger one. And I kept working on that bigger one. I actually grabbed Fertile J South Dakota map. I think the small 4x4 one was the first map I grabbed and just started editing that for the first Pleasant Valley. And by the time I knew it, I had replaced everything in his map with something new. And I gave him credit in the credits for that map, and he wrote back, "Why did you give me credits? I don't see anything I did in your map." It's like, well, sorry, but I used your map. If you notice, the farms are in the exact same place as in his original map. If you played them both, that original Pleasant Valley and his map, you would notice that you probably had a sense of familiarity because things just were replaced one by one, but the farms looked different, but they were in the exact same spots. And then where he had his airport, I wanted to make it a little bit more useful, so that's exactly where ATV World was. And it just grew from there. Yeah, PV17. That's awesome. Well, we tried to do a series on the throwback series. We did quite a few. We showed a few of them. Never really finished that. I don't know what happened. Life went on. Real life gets involved every now and then, you know? But that was fun. We had a few people out there playing on our throwback series of maps. I'm going to have to redo the history of video that I did and add on the new ones now. That stuff I love to do, the videos and the trailers. It's just so much more time that, and these maps are getting so much more involved that I've been doing that I can't even keep up with all the little stuff that I know I have to do. I got to put a bridge in over here. But I just want to keep this going right now. Got to get you guys that are subscribers some points. I really apologize for that. I really got to get that done. The list is long. Anybody that even isn't subscribed that's owed points, you're all going to get an extra bonus just because I am so darn behind on it. That eventually all those that have subscribed in the past or currently will have their points plus some, and we'll make sure that they're out there for when we get into doing extra drawings and stuff as we get closer to release for those people that still don't have FS17 or whatever. I've got some stuff. You know, I've got quite a bit of stuff. How many people are out there? Maybe 53 of you guys I see watching right now. Not too bad. It's been a bigger, the crowd's steadily been getting a little bit bigger, which is kind of awesome. We're going to have to do some, I'll look into it for Wednesday night's broadcast. I have a vault of stuff that I have, other games that I can unlock and see what we can give away that I never finished giving away. But there's some pretty cool stuff out there that I have still. We'll do a giveaway on Wednesday, at least one. But I can't do it with the points. I don't know, we'll see. I could try to get all the points caught up. We'll see. But we'll make them cheap anyway. That's a lot. Those points, catching that up, oh my gosh. It's months now. Like 5 months, I think, you guys, since I started doing that stuff. Anybody that's a member, by the way, and I really apologize for that too. If you want to jump in here and ask a question on Discord at any given time, just post it up there, and you already have the Discord information. I will fire it up and we can get you in here to talk. So don't, yeah, if you ever want to jump in and ask questions or just say hello, let me know. I'll get it fired up. I'm just concentrating on getting this map done right now. It's a long way to go, as you can see. There are people collecting points out there. You guys have been watching a lot. 621,000. with more coming on the way. Wolfie7009, thank you for subscribing. You guys are great. That's awesome. Thank you so much. You didn't have to do that. I do appreciate it, as usual. But we'll definitely we got to get caught up on all those subscriptions. I know it. It's my job. That part is the job for me. I really don't even get to get in the forums and stuff as much as I want to anymore, because I just sit here literally doing this for hours on end. Then I sleep and I wake up and then I get right back into it. This is what, the 15th or 16th broadcast already? They each usually run on average about 3 hours. And it is such a small part of the time that I put into this thing. I'm guessing we're looking well over 1,000 hours when this one's done. I can't keep track. You know what they need to do? They need to have a better collaboration built in. That would be a really awesome thing to see in the future. You know, just the ability to have different people work on the map. I guess in a way, we could work something out like that with different types in the map once you have the terrain and everything laid out. Somebody could be working on doing a train spline and then just import it from the other person that's worked on it. But I tend to get most of it done on my own. Big Daddy's worked on the trains in the past and then I've imported them. But for the most part, it's hard to collaborate between multiple people working on the same map at the same time. You need points for playing my YouTube videos over and over. They don't give you points to do that, do they? Yeah, if you're learning from those videos, I understand that. Especially, they go long sometimes. Miss... Oh my gosh, I can't read it. I can't read it. Yeah, thank you for the subscription. I miss Sophia. My gosh, my glasses are bad. I'm going to rewind that. But thank you so much. If you throw your name up there, I could probably find it. It began with an M. Misophonia? Misophonia. Thank you so much for the subscription. Now, where was I? I really do appreciate it. Thank you for watching me plant a million zillion trees tonight. It isn't always this bad, but it needs to be done. And this is just one loop around the map we're still working on with this size. Eventually we'll get to do another one. Hopefully I'll have at least 2 more levels through this by Wednesday. Actually, I'm hoping to have the trees done by Wednesday. Get into doing some other cool stuff than planting, but you never know. I mean, I've been planting trees now today on this first run. We've been here for 2 hours. I've probably been doing it for another couple hours already today, and we haven't made the single loop all the way around the map yet with just this size tree. filling in all these areas. I gotta go across that mount. I mean, we're getting there, I suppose. We're getting there slowly but surely. Some areas probably don't need as many as others, but I think we're gonna have to test it pretty soon and just make sure we're not bogging down the whole map with a billion trees. Finding You're welcome. It's actually, I really enjoy. I love seeing you guys working on stuff, you know? Someday I'll be able to retire. No, I enjoy doing it, but you know, it's kind of cool to see what other people are doing out there as well. Finding what you want is time consuming. Yeah, tell me about it. Just give you the files for crops that are already converted. Oh, let's see. Crops that are converted. They're in there. They're all the textures and stuff. I still have the yeah. I can release those at a point. I don't have a lot done yet, but I have no problem maybe I'll put together a package once we get a little bit longer. The thing is with those, it's one file. The the effects files and stuff have all of them in it. So it is a time consuming thing to do directions on what you need to add. I mean, I guess I could copy and paste what's in my map, but you will have to know the changes to make. But you will get errors if you don't have all the same, or warnings anyway, if you don't have all the same ones completely added that are in my files, because they're all added in the same file. So my fill plane file will have all the fill planes that are in the map. My effects file will have all the effects. So you'd end up getting the fill planes and effects for not only just one or two that you chose, but if you decided to leave one out, you would start getting warnings unless you get into editing those files. So it's a little bit tricky. Nothing simple. Learning to add them one at a time as you go. I could give you texture files and stuff, wrap those up. If you learn the actual adding them in by following my video and you just need the textures in the files that I use, that's a lot easier. But I do have to find them as well. I find them, I've edited them, I sometimes try to recreate them. The lavender is a little bit tricky one. There were some files, but converting them over so that the cutter effects and everything work properly, that does take a little bit extra. Look at all the space that back here. I'm going to get a little bit faster and just a little bit sparser trees back behind the lake, I think. Now these are the small trees. I know you guys like to cut the bigger ones, so those will be, they're usually put in last and you start filling in areas. Alright, what do we have? We didn't quite get this whole mountain range or the whole other side over there. I think I'm going to leave this area. Why not leave a big area open too? Don't need to do the whole map in trees. We can have a big grass field. Definitely want to get the mountainsides and stuff planted though. I'm glad to hear. Yeah, 4X maps can be time consuming, but I'm hoping you're learning something. If you're learning something, then I'm doing what I think I'm doing. That's the important thing. I've always been in the roles of having to train people to do stuff, so it kind of comes naturally. All the places I've had worked and stuff, it's I could tell you a story. Uh, I've been working on computers forever, so I know my way around. And I often get people, can you come over and fix my computer or do this or do that? I was just always the go to person. And then there was this one time that this guy called me up and said, "Could you teach my wife how to use a computer?" I'm thinking, yeah, I can. She just needs the basics. She just wants to be able to do her online shopping and email. And I'm like, give me a price. I gave him a price. It was like a long time ago, but it was like $20 an hour or something. And he said, "All right, you're hired." I'm thinking this is going to be the easiest job in the world. All I got to do is teach somebody how to use a computer. So I go over to the house for that first day, and I'm like, "All right, show me what you already know how to do, so I know where to start." And she goes, she grabs the mouse and she sits there, and she literally says, "I can't even get the arrow to move." She starts spinning the mouse in a circle, and the cord's getting wrapped around her wrist and stuff. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this this is gonna take a while." And so, yeah, it did take quite a while. I got a lot of money out of it, but I was like not expecting that. Just can't quite get the mouse. I said, "Okay, so put your hand on the mouse and move up, and you see how the arrow moves up? Now move down, and you see how the arrow moves down?" I literally, now move it to the left. Oh, I get it all of a sudden. I mean, at the time, I had my daughter was probably about 3 years old and had known far more, far, far more than this lady knew. But once we figured out the starting point, we just had a long. Yes, exactly. And actually, the guy, literally, the guy that hired me, absolutely knew how pathetic she was at it. And he was constantly, "Can you come back tomorrow?" and like giving me an extra 30, $40 because he felt sorry for me. I'm like, "Sure, no problem." You have to have patience. That's all. You repair computers so you know the feeling. Yep, exactly. I actually eventually just said, I can't do it all. You guys got to learn how to do some of this. No, I don't do as many. I don't live as close to the family and back anymore either, so that kind of cut into it a little bit. But I've been building computers myself since as long as I can remember owning them. I don't think I think only in my entire life I've only had one computer, well, beyond the one PC. I've obviously had gone back all the way to one step before the Commodore 64. I had a Timex Sinclair 1000, which was a, yeah, Timex computer. that most people don't know existed. But once I had a PC, I think I built one. I mean, bought one box PC, and everyone else has been put together with parts, including the one I have now. And they go through stages. I mean, this thing's obviously on like its third CPU in the same. My motherboard's about maxed out now, so that would have to be the next upgrade if I needed to go, because it has the highest CPU that I can use in there, but it is a 4 gigahertz CPU. I don't plan on needing anything anytime soon, but you never know. I have room for doing adding another graphics card or 3 in there if I want to in my case, but I only have the one GTX 970 right now. And for Farm Sim, you don't need much more than that. So it will be a while. I haven't played the Ark in a while. I love playing the Ark, but until this project's done, I probably won't get back to it. The Trash 80 model back in 1979. My friends had that one. I did not. The Timex was, to give you a interesting how computers have changed. The Timex Sinclair 1000 is what it was. Came standard with 2K RAM. 2K. It's like not 2 megabytes, 2 kilobytes. That was its standard amount of RAM that came on that thing. You couldn't really do much but make like a happy face with big 1-inch blocks on the screen, or a short program that could add 1 plus 1 together or something, you know. But if you got the expansion that plugged into the back, then you could have 16K expansion to bring it to 18K total, which was just awesome. Black and white graphics on the screen, loading from that screeching. It didn't even have its own cassette player, but it would load up your programs from your cassette player and would screech those noises, and just like the old modems did, to load the programs. And sometimes you'd have to sit there and run a tape for a few minutes just to load up the simplest program into your computer. But that's where it started for me. You got a Radio Shack Coco. I haven't heard of that one. Had to write basic DOS every time to use it. Wow. Try teaching a 76-year-old who forgets what was said 10 minutes ago to make it stick. You have to hear over 20 times. Yep. Hey, you know, it's not. I am actually have to, as far as learning disabilities, my gosh, I have to do hands-on. If you try to read directions or anything, it takes me a while. I mean, it just seems like if I'm have to learn from a book or something, and I do buy books or whatever occasionally for directions, but it won't sink in until I do it several times, and I'm often buy the books just because they're like my manuals to go to. I am still that way with the Visual Basic that I created, the Mod Folder Switcher Plus program. I put it down for long enough, I can't remember what I'm doing. So I have several of the programs I've written in the past that I refer to, that I remembered, oh yeah, I figured out how to parse an XML file in this, you know, but I can't remember how to do it. So I'll look up the code I did and try to refresh my memory on how I did the stuff in the past. It's still with that stuff does not stick, but I will stay on it if I need to learn something until I figure out how it's done. And some things are tricky, but once I have one of those things down, I just keep the program even if it never makes it to the light of day, so it's a reference point to go back to remember how I did it. Databases and all that stuff. I've worked with several of them. Yep, I just have to do it. And doing it doesn't always stay if you don't constantly do it for me. You guys have probably noticed that. Every year, it's like this whole map process. For me, I don't want to do. I don't want that tree that close to that field. That's mean. But I'm starting to talk and forget what I'm doing. But for me, it's a process you go through. Right now, we're doing the basics, of planting trees and terrain editing. And I want to get rid of this one too because that's a little bit close to where you have to do. I probably shouldn't have put a few in there, but hey, I'll worry about that when I get to it. But yeah, the process is such a long one that by the time I have to start the next map, sometimes I have to. I've literally watched my own videos back to remember how to do stuff. That's how bad it is. Once I remember it, then I'm good. But I sometimes have had to watch my own videos back because I forgot how I did something in the past. Because it's been so long, By the time I get to the end of this map, these even though I'm doing this a bazillion times, this is one of those things, the tree planting. I couldn't remember the key combination and how to just keep duplicating trees when I started this map. I've done it a million times in the last map. It's just slipped my mind how I had to do it. The fact that I have to hold down that left mouse button was what I was missing. But I had to go back to my last videos and just refresh my memory on what I had to do to plant trees over and over. And then I didn't know if I was still doing it right, because if you do a duplication with the control button held clicked down, you get the tree to rotate so that no two of them next to each other are in the same direction. But if you're doing the duplication with the shift button held down, they will plant trees and they don't spin the tree around every time for the random rotation, and they literally, you can tell that they look the same, which is why you rotate them a little bit. So I have to constantly, by the time I get back to the next map at the beginning and I have to plant trees, I might have to go back and figure it out again. I know where to find it though. I know where to find the answers. Yep, save that old code is essential. It's my reference material. I couldn't tell you it's been so long since I actually wrote the part of the, I mean, it was tricky actually to figure out how to parse the XML files the way they're set up. I mean, you can parse XML files. The part I had the toughest part doing with the XML files from this game is the fact that all the values are nested in groups for the objects, but also sometimes values are not, especially the UPK values, were not separated by anything, no commas or anything, so it's not like you could just read to the next comma. You had to figure out where the spaces were and get them to read into the proper columns in order to be, a little bit trickier to do it that way. And it was a lot of studying to get it to that point, to get the code right. For me, I don't have any computer degree. It's I never did. I just back when Visual Basic, I think VB5 was out, I had tons and tons of books, and I did the Teach Yourself Visual Basic books, and I did several of those. Just read through, and I kept them as reference manuals until I finally figured out. And if I needed to do something, I'd turn to that chapter and try to figure it out. And you won't see me get too complex with them, but I can do some interesting things. If I can't find something to fill the need that I want, that's usually when I make it myself. I think we're almost around the map with layer 1 of trees. I can't wait to see how many of these trees that we put on this map tonight, though. They'll have to definitely go back and fill in some areas, just like the grass, where I think once I get all the layers in, where I think it needs to get more, but we'll get there. We'll fill in some blank spots later. Yeah, text file database. XML isn't. Like I said, the main problem I had with the XML, parsing through the XML files in this game, was when you have the fill type, say, in a trailer, and then the value right after it with no delimiters in between. So you had to, and with the UPK, it's a long line of fill type, then the value and the filled type. So there's a little bit of extra code that needed to be written to tell it when you had the next item. That was the tricky part. And I don't always do it correctly. I probably don't always do it the easy way. I'll be the first to admit it. I might have an extra 50 lines of code more than I need to get my job done, but I'll get it done. Because I don't know a lot of the technical aspects about that stuff. I am missing the strip of grass down here. I knew there was a strip over here somewhere. It's right here. Fill it in. Just enough to make myself dangerous with programming. Yeah, tree groves. We have to do the swamp. We will work on the birches and stuff. Definitely. We'll have to do some interesting clusters and stuff down. I don't have them even imported in the map yet. Well, I do have birches. I think that's the only other tree I have, other than the standard ones here. But you're right. We've got to mix it up a little. Do some groves and stuff. And that will come. As we get through each of the layer. Right now it's just basic tree planting 101, or 1,000,001 it seems like. Close to, I wonder, I'm going to check. I'll let you know how many trees I did. I'm going to leave another field here empty. We don't have to those are the ones we can. Wow, there's so much space over here. Those are the ones that we can fill in. We don't need to have the whole map planted with trees either, so we can do some other things. Hopefully get clover or alfalfa fields in there as well. But for the most part, I do want to have a lot of trees on the map. I'm guessing we're probably close to 2,000 of these little buggers by now. We're going to have to see how it plays. What time we got? 10:30. Yeah, we got a little ways to go. Finish up some of these mountainsides with layer 1. Then I'm going to jump in and test and see how frame rates are reacting with an extra million trees in it. Yeah, we'll leave some spots. There are definitely going to be a lot. Again, this is just, I do things in stages as I get to, and I work big and work down. I'll put these trees in. Some of them will come out as we build in more details into the map. Definitely, but it's much easier later on to, if I have to do a building edition or a different type of setup, to make sure that all they got to do to prepare for the building coming in the map is cut down the trees in the area where I'm putting it and haul them away, and then we don't have to do a major reset of any of the tree file or anything. When we add new trees later on, then we have to do a little bit of editing to the files. There's so much room in here to be expanded upon. We'll get this whole section filled in on this side of the road. I still might go back in and well, I have to decide pretty soon if I'm going to add any extra fields in, because I got to get those marked too after the trees are done. But it's probably going to stay where it is for now. You never know, though. Like I said, I'd love to see the alfalfa and clover. Give me a couple more field types. Then we'll actually plant some fields out there in those, and that will just give a different look to some of these fields as well. Where are we here? All over the place. I don't think we're going to finish this up tonight. Not this layer. I got to do some cleanup on aisle 5. Now that train track through there looks pretty crummy. But we'll get there. It seems like I've been doing this forever. Forever, forever. So anybody gonna take a guess? We haven't looked at the tree total since I told you it was, oh, I don't remember, 900 and something. Anybody want to guess at how many trees we have out there right now? How many we'll have before when we get around this map? We've definitely got a lot of them. GTX was out there. I don't know if he's there now. Yeah, he's out there somewhere, I think. Whoa. That, I don't know what I just did, but it was not good. I put Spruce Stage 3 inside of a Spruce... Yeah. Which is not a good thing, so let's get rid of that. That could really mess up a tree file right there. Something silly. I duplicated it or copied it down into its group. But we definitely want to put trees all over here. Oh, 19,875. I don't think we got that many in tonight. But we could. It's definitely a lot. We're going to probably stop in about another 5 minutes or so and just do the drive around, and I'll finish this up tomorrow and then go on to hopefully getting some of the other trees size layers in here, and then hopefully you guys will be able to see a very nicely, maybe even with the groves, by Wednesday. I did it again. What am I doing? Must see, I'm getting tired is what happens about this time of day, and I start doing stupid stuff that ends up wrecking the map. But I duplicated that inside one of the other tree files again. You may have that number wrong. Who knows? I could get tired of doing trees and decide to fill that lake with sand and then come back to trees. It all has to be done. I think it's time for my nap, and then I'll probably wake up and do more later. I'm getting old. I need a nap. Actually, I really don't have a sleep schedule. It's sleep when you're tired and map make when you're not. That's what it is. Here, we'll start some way out here. We can fill all this area in. Why do I have, and please don't tell me I did. Alright, we're going to stop right now because I got to cut all these out of it. These are all... Oh no, please don't do this to me. They're all in a... From there down are in another tree group. All of those. Because I got crazy. Holy mackerel. Let me, see, I'll show you how we got to fix this. This is an interesting little boo-boo. Oh wait, maybe not all of them. Let's see what we've got here. We've got some trees inside of tree groups here. You can see Spruce Stage 3. So what we got to do here is we got to take this transform group, this tree's X, Y, and Z values, if I'm correct. for translation. Create a transform group. Down here. And once it gives me a chance, add the values to that. And then, yeah, I didn't even notice I did that way back there. Was it this one here? Did I grab the values? 123.155. There's only one tree in that one. I could spare that one. This tree here is in that group. Alright, that's not so bad. Let's get rid of that one. That's okay. I can live with one tree going bye-bye. But it's all of these. We need this spruce here. The values from that group. And this is so I don't have to do it all over again. So we're going to Shift Control C. And then we'll put that value as our X, Y, and Z translation. Just in case this happens to you guys. Hopefully this will work. And then go back up to where I made that huge mistake and copied inside a group here, which is right from this tree. Might need the rotation values, but we'll find that out in a minute. Alright, to this tree right here. We're going to cut them out. And put them into this transform group right here with the same values. And hopefully it works. Let's see if the rotation looks a little bit off. So we're going to need that rotation as well. Now, the problem is, I don't know if I can find that rotation because they all blend in together. I should have checked it. Let me back up a step or two. Must be this one right here that it was. Whoops, now I can't find it. I don't want to redo everything. Minus 34.167. No, it wasn't that tree because I'm checking the values here. Alright, back up another step till we get all those trees back in here. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. Let's see if they're not back yet. I hope I can save my butt. There they are. Alright. My trees are right, but here we gotta grab this. The value of this tree, because that's the value the XYZ is off of. And we gotta grab the rotation as well. So 923 is the transform, 7.716 is the rotation. Very important. So create transform group. We're going to add those values into my transform group. This should work. But we can't have them nested inside one tree, or that's going to cause some major issues. So rotate Y 7.716, then back up to that tree that they're all inside, which there's so many right here. Grab the XYZ for the translate. And then put that down on the bottom group. See, you got to know how to recover from your own stupidity. All right, now we should be able to. So when things like this happen, you don't have to go back and replant 6,000 trees. So it's from here, because you can see it's inside this spruce stage 3 right here. All these files for all these trees somehow just getting probably glitchy for having so many trees in the same transform group. I just was hoping to get all these trees into the one. So we'll find out where the last one is, which is right there. We're going to cut those out. Then we're going to go to that transform group that has the same rotation and translation values as the tree group that it was in, because that's what everything was based off of, where that tree was. And there you go. They're all back and they're properly not in a tree group, so we can continue on using our new tree group. Yeah, I'm going to save this right now before I mess anything else up, and because it's getting late, we'll jump in and see what we did today. Return from hell. Thank you for the follow, and I'm glad to see you got out of there. All right, let's see. We're exporting. Does anyone know if the person who did the field status is going to add the ability to define the window position? He always did. Is he here tonight? He sometimes catches the show. He is not currently in tonight though, but we can. I'm not even sure where he stands with that right now, to be honest with you. Things are so different now, but he was looking into it, so we shall see. But Lamillo, yeah, the bad touch. He's often in the audience and working on it. I know he was trying to figure out a lot of stuff because a lot of stuff is done different. Oh, I did the wrong map. Well, you know, you push too many buttons too fast. Hey everybody, I'm going to show you Goldcrest Valley tonight. As if you haven't seen it before. It's probably going to not load up. Now it'll load up, but it'll probably have a million errors. Because it registers the fruits from my other map. You see how that works? In Goldcrest Valley, but the sugar cane and all the fruits register, but none of the texture files. So you won't be able to run my map with other maps. Currently, it registers all the fruits, even though if somebody tries to plant them, it's going to be a disaster. Just so you know. You'll need to run it from its own folder because unless the textures are already added into those maps as well. Let's jump over to Pleasant Valley 17 and check it out. Whoops. Well, we don't need mods. We'll check out some frame rates and see how bad they are with... my guess is I think that where I cut that one tree out was like tree number 2000 and something. So we probably have another 50 or so. I didn't actually... No, 500 to 1,000 or so. There's probably about 3,000 more trees on the map from that group. We'll have to check when we're done here, but let's see how it's running. This time we'll turn on the good old FPS meter and drive around, and you'll notice it'll dip in areas as buildings load in when you're first... Oh, check out that. Isn't that pretty? It came in lavender. The lavender came in all fully grown this time. It's always nice to see it when it's purple. Or lavender color, I guess. You got the MFS 17. Mod folder switcher. Yep, that's probably the extent of the program. Right, I like to mess with VB Visual Basic every now and then and work that. Look at these tunnels. They're just awesome. I love it. I love it. It actually just works great. They look great, work great. You will see our trees starting to fill in a little bit. Of course, we do have this area of the map still to do some more. This is the area where we're almost back to, but not quite. If you missed us last week or Friday, then the swamp is going to be built down here. Then we're going to start moving in the dead trees and putting silt in the bottom of the swamp. Down in there, we'll fill in the swamp area and we'll be able to do some swamp logging. But we're still running pretty solid my GTX 970 with 4 gigahertz, 60 frames with all the trees on the map so far. They're going to get dense, much more dense as we bring in all the different layers. There's some wide open grass areas as well, but definitely starting to see where all the trees are going. You're going to be able to, wherever there's trees, it's going to, a lot of those areas are going to get pretty thick, probably equivalent to what's over there on the mountains, you know, filled in nicely like around that area, but all the way through here. And as we bring in factories, the sections and places for shops and stalls will be cut back out as they are needed. Like up here, there's definitely going to be a building of some sort eventually up here, because the parking lot's already there, but I haven't, and a road that comes up over here, so this will all eventually come out. And something will go up there. And around the farms, it'll definitely be many more trees. And I'm probably going to add a little house somewhere up there for this. Oh, there's that tree that's floating. We'll do a check on that. Actually, what I usually do is, but I don't think I can do it while I'm broadcasting, is I would tab out right when I see those, when I'm going around the map, so I know I don't forget them. But if I tab out, you're not going to see me remove it, and you'll be wondering what the heck's going on, so we'll just finish it up for now. But the frame rates seem to be holding real good for Another 3,000 trees on the map, my guess would be. Got to work on the sky, get in a bigger sky file because you can see the flat edge of it here. Does anybody know if there's a 4X map out there that has a sky already done? That's what I was waiting for, so I don't have to do that work myself. But I need an expanded sky file so that we don't see the edge. And where the heck is the border? I got to move this one in a little bit closer so you can't get up over the edge of the hill. We'll fix that up. We don't want you to see the ugliness on the outside of the map. But there's definitely a lot of trees. Now, as I was telling you guys the other day, the museum, this is a perfect example of what happens. If you watch my frame rates as I get close to the museum has a lot of objects in it, but they're very low distance view. So as we get closer, there's going to be a point when we get in the parking lot where the frames are going to dip just while all those objects load in. You see how quick that was? We went all the way down to 23. Now that they're loaded in, we're going to fluctuate, but you will get those because of all the stuff that's in here. And I'm just going to go up here. We do have a lot of updating, but last week I showed that the pedestals looked really bad. You could see through them. Well, we fixed the pedestals as well as the stands on the top floor. And anybody that donated, including the guys tonight, all this will get caught up eventually in the museum. As we get a little bit further down the road, we'll get it all caught up. But, oh, that's the gold room. Yeah, that's right. The museum's so big, I forget how many floors are in it. The silver room was okay, but it was the bronze room. I had to do the bronze texture over and take the reflection off of it, because the reflections work differently. But these lampposts are back to looking decent. They don't have a little bit of the reflection on them, but they're all good now. So that's fixed up. And lots of names to be updated and added to and moved around the floors, and that'll come down the road as well. This is going to be fun to rebuild this whole area. We'll bring in some of the buildings from the other side, just because they're pretty generic, strip malls and stuff. Try to change up some of the signs so they look a little bit different. Bring in things like our Dancing Donuts and stick it on a corner, or a McDonald's, and build up this area with that type of stuff as well. And it's still going to be a balance because there's so many things in this row that we got to make sure it still loads in and doesn't lag you out too much driving through here. But our trees are getting there. It's going to be really like farms in the mountains. It's pretty cool. Streetlights alone, I think there's probably going to be about 1,000 of them. We'll have to see how it works, but these main highways have to have the streetlights all the way down. Yeah, if I had a sub button, it would be nice, but Twitch won't give you one unless you have a lot more followers than I do. So I have the subscription from GameWisp, which has been working. And been very helpful. So yeah, look at that. It's starting to... I think when you come back, if you make it for Wednesday, you will see how much the trees are just going to make it look so foresty and nice, and start really filling in the map. And we'll start building in... Once that's done, we'll start building in some of the extra features into the map as well. But we also have to mark all the fields and get it up on that server for testing. And then just keep on going. But there's a lot of testing. These guys have to eventually do every single field, and if I've missed a spot or there's grass in them, they'll let me know. Or if there's bumps or places where your combines are bottoming out, and stuff like that, they will let me know how to where they are and how to fix it up. So, and then there's detail objects. You guys, I don't know if you realize in the original map the amount of detail objects that are just stuck around the in-game house alone is phenomenal. And I really want to go in, and I don't know if I can do that many like they did in that farm, but over here we've got a few. Just to example, I did very little. I brought a dumpster over and a bicycle and a couple planted pots and that type of thing. Wheelbarrow, which is tilted for some reason there. But they have stuff on all the shelves and everything. And just around that starter house, there's an amazing amount of these little bushes and little things like the hand cart, the bench, flower pots. Because I moved this house, I know what it's like. All these bushes inside the greenhouse are separate, but all these little detail items like the boxes and the shop vac that are all movable are what's going to add to it over time. And barrels, but each place literally is going to have so many to bring the whole area to life. So it'll be interesting as we continue on. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for tonight's show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Could I put that dumpster outside your house? You would use it? Yeah. Well, that's interesting you should say that. I'd be glad to give it to you, but I can't get it out of the map. No. There was talk about having bags of garbage appear and possibly making you have to throw them out to earn some money or something, because you can now pick up objects. So we haven't even gotten into the capabilities of what may be possible down the road. This is right now basic 101, get the map, terrain, and crops laid out so we can get it going, and then continue adding on till it is a PV map in all senses of the word, but probably the best one I've done because of the extra amount I'm putting into the terrain this time in the details. So thanks everybody. Have a great night, and we'll be back here on Wednesday at 8 p.m.